It's time for Tech Talks with me, Rob Brown, and I'm here with Jeremy Hyman of Jeremy Hyman Associates. And Jeremy, I wanted to ask you, we talk about digitization of professional firms, particularly accounting firms. Let's be in the cloud. Let's embrace this new technology. And then we talk about the vendors innovating, bringing in new products and services. But I want to ask you, to what degree can vendors and software people really innovate? Because accounting firms can be a little bit laggardly, if you like, in adopting things, can't they?
I don't know why you suggest that. Accountants are dynamic and exciting and always on the cutting edge of, no, you're right. And certainly providers in the market who are coming with innovation have got to be prepared for very long purchase cycles from firms. Yeah. And I think the reason for that, to be fair to firms, is that they are partnerships. And partnerships have a very peculiar dynamic, don't they? I mean, they're not all partnerships, but mostly they're partnerships.
Are we going to talk about the broken model of partnerships and how it doesn't work?
Well, we're going to talk about it with a specialist eye on technology.
Yeah.
But you're right. The problem is that it's much easier in a partner meeting to say no than it is to say yes. Okay.
Why is that?
Because there's safety in numbers, right? So we can have one person who's a leading light and say, right, let's innovate, let's do this. I've seen this bit of software, it's great. And then one person says, oh, I don't know, which is like a natural response because they haven't been exposed to the sales spiel or seen the detail of it or whatever. Another one says, oh, we've got so many things to get through today. Do we really want to be talking about this? Another one says, I heard such and such a firm bought this and it didn't work. Never mind why it didn't work or whatever, didn't work. And before you know it, you've got 3, 4, 5 people in the room who are at best ambivalent and at worst negative. And you're the voice, and you're not that sure because you're not an IT guy, and so it just fizzles and dies. So I get from the vendor perspective, there's a lot of frustration, but it's almost axiomatic that in a partnership model, change, innovation, newness is much harder than staying where you are and not innovating at all.
They're very good points. And when you look at the general model of a professional firm that's equity based, you've got a stake in that. Do you want to really be spending that pot that is your retirement on big new capital investments on technology and major innovations like that?
Yeah, so you've hit upon a big issue for partnership buying decisions, which is that quite often the most senior decision makers have got the most to lose in major capital investments. I think there are two answers to that. First of all, a lot of the new systems that are coming out are not actually CapEx items, so SaaS models, and therefore it's certainly impactful on profit and loss, but over quite a long period, and not a big wad of money going out just at the point where someone's thinking about retiring. The second one, and we've done this with a couple of our clients, is to engineer and ring fence both the investment and the reward on investment so that retiring partners are not impacted by it. So let's say you have got to make a capital expenditure, maybe on the professional services fees to get something on board and whatever. You come to an agreement within the partnership that not every partner is going to be impacted by that. It's no different than partnerships who've perhaps bought one of their offices, where a subset of partners own a building, which is then leased out to the partnership. And in fact, you can have examples where none of the partners are still part of the group that own the building, in an extreme example. Yeah. So you can do the same with an IT spend. You say, we've got to spend X £100,000 on a system. You, partners 1, 2, and 3, don't need to participate, but also we're going to work out a formula whereby if there is an uplift in efficiency or profits, you aren't going to benefit. And it ultimately then becomes a commercial discussion out in the open, and it stops retirement considerations blocking the firm from moving forward.
So going back to that vested interest in the status quo, talking intransigence, if you like, but an accounting firm can only go as fast with its digitization as the adoption, the culture, the leadership will allow. So if vendors have new products, new services, new innovations to put to them, there's a balance, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I think using phrases like vested interest and intransigence are perhaps harsh. I don't mind being mean about the suppliers, but I think accountants are generally quite nice. I don't think we should be too mean.
You usually mean about the vendors as well, Jeremy. So you're quite impartial in that way.
Yeah. We'll hold back some bile for them. Yeah. So how do you get into that? I think that you prove as you go along. So the day of a monolithic purchase and a monolithic change, I think, are long behind us. But a vendor who is smart will say, let's take one small area of operations within the firm and prove how we can do this. Get that delivered, have the best proof of kind of it working is within your own firm. And from there, we can gradually build out to other areas of the firm. At the same time, the firm has to budget for success and expect to be spending the money on the successful outcome, which is firm-wide. but it's up to the vendor to work out ways for the firm to convince itself that it won't be too painful to take this on.
And if you were sat in a boardroom of a big software vendor, would you be having conversations along the lines of, we want to invest in research, development, innovation, but we can't do it because these accounting firms won't take these new innovations on?
No, I think you just have to adapt to the pace of your client base. That's all. And you have to build into your return on investment models on building out your software, just how long it's going to take. When software companies say, oh, we're going to get a return, we're going to sell this many in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. In the accountancy space, they have to make those intervals rather longer. The return on investment, therefore, has to be stretched out, and they've just got to be honest with themselves about that. You can't rush to market. So
to conclude, are the software vendors holding back the professional firms, or is it the other way around?
That is an excellent question.
Or are you going to sit on the fence for that one?
I think that it is more the software vendors holding back the firms. So for all of what we have said, firms do want to progress, they do want to strive, they do want to forge a way forward. And more often, I'm afraid, it is the firms waiting for the vendors and not the other way around.
Yeah, well, that's insightful and declarative. Thanks so much, as always, Jeremy.